Welcome back to another movie review. Before I tell you what the movie is, let me ask you this question. Seriously, you answer this question, you put it in the comments below in the YouTube video, okay? Literally, not anywhere else, in the YouTube video. I will follow you. What would you do if there was a game that you could play and all you have to do is try to win 3 keys and you'll be the sole owner of the game, the whole entire network? So like, let's say, let's just say like, Microsoft. Let's say if you get these 3 keys, you get the whole company of Microsoft, let's say, okay? So you get that, and then you get $500 billion. I mean, $500 billion. I mean, that's unheard of. But what would you do to get these keys? Would you really try to put all your effort into it? Would you really just be like, screw it, it's not worth it. I don't know where to get the clues. I don't know what to do. What would you do? Well, let me tell you about a guy who actually wants to win so badly he'll do anything for it. So, on today's movie review, I am reviewing the movie Ready Player One. So in this movie, you got a guy named Wade who lives in it's called the Stacks, where they stack all different houses together on top of each other. So you got maybe like 20, 30 houses on top, and they're just like shipping containers kind of thing that they live in and everything. That's why it's called the Stacks. And so he goes off to an old car lot where all these cars have been destroyed and stuff like that. And that's where he put his video game, where he could step into the world of Oasis, where he puts on goggles and he's able to see the world in front of him of the Oasis. And then he has gloves that he can do and interact and do stuff. And you can get power-ups. You can get like weapons. You can get like armor that you actually put on in the real world, and you can actually feel like people's touch on your arm or on your like chest or your shoulders, or them going through your hair. You can feel all this stuff because it's real, like it's real sense. It's like real sensors that you can feel. And so Wade plays the game in the Oasis, and he is there. He meets he has a friend named H. And so he wants to play this racing game, because the reason why for this is that that's where the first key is. So you got to win the race. You got to get to the finish line. But there's so many obstacles that could be there. Like you got a T-Rex that could kill you. You got King Kong at the end that can just snap you out of the air and kill you. Or you got like... or you got other things like a ramp that turns, and as you turn, you flip upside down, and then you got to land straight on to it, or else you'll hit the side and boom, you die. Which is called zeroing out, where you lose everything. You lose all your power-ups, your weapons, your armor, your suit, whatever you had, you lose it. All your credits, I mean literally. So your credits, so for every 1 credit you have, it's considered like $1 in the real world. So if you have 500 credits, you got $500. You got 100,000 credits, you get $100,000. And so Wade is trying to figure out how to defeat this obstacle. So he goes through it, and he races through in his nice DeLorean while he sees this lady, and it's Artemis, and she's driving a motorcycle. And so he gets to the finish line, but not like literally to the finish line. Like he stops just before King Kong, where King Kong is protecting the finish line. And as it goes, Artemis is ready to go on that ramp and try to jump and try to beat King Kong. Well, lo and behold, Wade, who is Percival takes Artemis and throws her off the bike, like moves her off the bike, and the bike goes flying, and King Kong crushes it. And so she's like, well, what are you, like a wussy, a sissy, that you can't literally take chances of zeroing out and all this? And he's like, oh, I can, yada, yada, yada. But he doesn't want to, because he knows it's unbeatable at this moment in time. So he goes to what's called the holiday journals. So Percival goes over there to try to figure out what goes on in Holiday's life, because that's where every record of his life, I mean, from like as young as he can remember to everything, like every movie he's seen, everything he's watched, everything. And so this holiday journal popped out when they figured out what the first clue was to first win the key on the racetrack. So he goes in there and he's talking to the curator, and he's like, I want to see about this party. And lo and behold, near the end of the video that he's watching, Holiday says, I wish we could just go back and, like put the pedal to the metal and just go back. Well, that gets Percival thinking, what should he do? Well, lo and behold, he figures out that during the next race he's in, he's going to let everyone go ahead and he's going to go backwards and see what happens. Because that's what Holiday says, if everything could go into reverse and then they could just put the pedal to the metal. Well, lo and behold, Artemis sees Percival staying there as she's going forward, and she gets the idea of what's going on. Well, she sees that Percival goes backwards, and Percival goes through the obstacle course backwards, and lo and behold, he was right. As he goes backwards, he sees everyone going forward. So of everything where they see people jumping off the ramp, and then you got the T-Rex that destroys a bunch of people, and then King Kong. Well, King Kong is totally pissed. I mean, so pissed that it's unfreaking believable, because he can see Percival, below him, and he's like, oh no, he's going to win. He's going to get through the finish line. Because as it goes, he wants there to be no rules. That's what Holiday wanted. He wanted no rules in a video game. That's why it's called the Oasis, where there's no rules. And so Percival is going backwards, and this ramp comes down, and Percival goes up backwards, and he hits the finish line where he gets the key. Now, the key, literally, there's a clue to it, and the clue was that James Holiday regrets something. Regrets not taking a leap, but also there is a other clue of the creator hating his creation. Well, lo and behold, they figure out that it's Stephen King. He created the book called The Shining, which they turned into a movie. Well, he hated the movie, but he enjoyed his book, of course. And so they go into the movie theater of The Shining, and they got like 5 minutes because pages are going off the script, and that's their clock counter to say so many pages, so much time. And so literally they go through and they're trying to figure out what's going on, and they can't figure it out until Artemis says, what if the leap is for Karen, like not kissing Karen or dancing with Karen? And so he's like, okay, that's a good idea. So they find a ballroom that's just there. And so in there is a bunch of zombies, and so Artemis jumps on the zombies and gets to Karen, who is Holiday's like love of his life, but never got to be with her because Karen married his partner later in the movie. And so she says so Artemis finally gets to Karen and says, well, I have this dance, and she's like, I've been waiting for this forever, and all this. And lo and behold, they get the second key. And now there is a clue to it, but they can't figure out what the answer is, where the third clue is, where the third key is. So lo and behold, you got IOI, who is run by Nolan Sorrento, who in all of this is trying to stop Percival in the game, but also trying to stop Wade in real life. So they trying to figure out where Wade lives and everything. So they figure out who Percival is, who's Wade. And this guy, IROC, who is like a bounty killer, I'd call him, because he kills a bunch of people in the game and steals their objects and everything. And he steals the Orb of Osavox, which is a big force field around stuff that you say magical words, and lo and behold, there we go. We got the Orb of Osavox working. Now, to destroy the Orb of Osavox, you got to say some more magical words. And so, lo and behold, that's what happens. But that's later. So Nolan Sorrento is like kind of like the owner of IOI, and he has all these Sixers who are playing the Oasis, trying to figure out the stuff and everything, like trying to figure out the clues. Well, they figure out what the third clue is. Well, the third clue is playing a video game on the Atari. And so they got all these bunch of people lined up who are playing Atari, and they test out how long it takes before they break through the ice. And so there's like a minute and a half at most, and everyone falls through the ice, and they just cross out the game. Well, it's not that one, it's not this one. So this girl comes up with the idea of Try Adventure, because it was created by Wade, this guy named Wade, who put his name in the game. Well, which has never been done. The first video game to have that. And so, lo and behold, that's what happens. And so, while this game is going on, as they're trying to figure out in Adventure, Nolan Sorrento lets IROC put the orb of Osavox there and says magical words, and boom, his force field comes all around it. And the only way to destroy the orb of Osavox is to say magical words again. And so, you have to get in to where the force field is, which is difficult because only people in IOI can actually get in. So, as it goes, Samantha is stuck, Artemis, who is friends with Wade and everything, and you learn about other characters like H, who is Helen in the real world, and Sho, who is someone else, and then Daito, who is Toshi, and everything, and they all work together to try to stop Nolan Sorrento from finishing the third level, to get the third key, the crystal key. And so, as it goes, Samantha was put into a loyalty group where she owes 23,000 credits, which are like one credit is $1 in the real world. So she owes $23,000 and back taxes and everything else So she's working there, and so you got Percival, or Wade at this time in the real world. He comes up with the idea of hijacking Nolan Sorrento's video game. Well, his link to the video game, because Nolan left his password out in plain sight, and Wade saw it and hacked into it. So what they did was they made it so that when Nolan Sorrento comes out of the video game, he's actually look like he's in his office, but he's not. He's actually still stuck in the video game, but in a creation of his office. And that's where they find out where Samantha is in the loyalty pod and everything, and which one she's in, and the passcode to let her out and everything. And they get her out. And so from there, she is in IOI, and she is turned into one of the Sixers, which she is working for Nolan Sorrento, but not literally working there, but she just hijacked one of the Sixers game system. And so they finally all meet up at this planet Doom or whatever, where the big orb of Osavox has been created. And Percival, who is Wade again, says to everyone, hey, we need your help. We need to get into here so we can stop Nolan Sorrento. And so please come to the planet Doom. Well, they come there and they're all fighting each other, and they're zeroing out like crazy because IOI is destroying everyone and everyone's destroying IOI. And so literally you get where Nolan Sorrento is finally, he turned himself into a big giant Godzilla kind of thing. And he's trying to kill Percival, and he can't. No matter what he tries, he just can't. So you got H, who is Helen. H is playing as an Iron Giant. So literally she has an Iron Giant and everything. And as she plays as the Iron Giant, she's kicking Nolan Sorrento's butt and everything. But Nolan Sorrento finally gets her on the ground, because you find out that H is actually a girl named Helen. And so H is on the ground with her back all burnt up from being in the Iron Giant and everything, and can't move and stuff like that. And so you got Percival and Daito there. Percival and Sho, they're actually going to the castle because what happens is that Samantha, is Samantha, but is Artemis, is able to take the force field down because she figures out what the code is and says it and everything, and the force field is down. And so finally Wade gets to the video game. Okay, to make long story short, Wade gets to the video game and he figures out what he has to do, because what happens is everyone who's been playing the game dies out. The ice breaks and everything, but except for one guy who is in the game Adventure, where he gets to the finish line and he's like, oh, I finished, and boom, cracks through the ice. Well, Percival realizes it's not a factor of winning the game. It's where you gotta find the first hidden egg ever to be seen in a video game, where it's this little dot that you got to find in the dark. And so Percival finds the dot and takes it back to the beginning of the game, where he wins the game, and that's where he is gets the third key. Now he opens up the first 2 locks with the first 2 keys, and he's trying to get that crystal key in, but he can't because everyone's after Wade in the real world. And so as it goes, he finally gets that crystal key in, and then James Holiday, who plays as a other character in the game, he's like the magical wizard and everything. He says to Percival, okay, all you have to do is sign this contract and that's it. Everything is yours. And he's like, no, I won't make the same mistake as you made. I won't. You more or less made your partner sign the papers to get control of the whole entire game. And so he more or less destroyed that's the biggest regret of James Holiday, that he made his friend, his only friend, sign away everything he owned, like the contract of Gregaria Games, and give it to James Holiday. And so that's where you find out that where Holiday finally gives the egg, and he gives it to Percival, where he's got 2 options. There's the off switch and the on switch, where the game is already on, and if you push the off button, it turns off the Oasis forever, where it won't exist and everything else. Well, lo and behold, he gets the egg, and he is stuck still in this mail truck, because that's where they were. And you got this guy Og, who was James Holiday's partner, comes in and says, hey, you won, now you got to sign the contract so that you can get everything. And he's like, well, you know what, I'm going to give it to my whole clan, which is 5. So $500 billion is $500 billion. So if you think about it, that is like $100 billion for each of the people in the group, because there's 5 people in the group. And that's crazy. $100 billion. What would you do with that? Well, lo and behold, he wins everything, and everyone comes up with the idea that Tuesdays and Thursdays they'll turn off the game so that no one can play it, that nobody in a loyalty center can actually access the game because IOI will be destroyed. And with the Tuesdays and Thursdays, so that they can spend time with family, friends, and everyone else, and be out in the real world instead of stuck in a fake video game. And so he's the owner of the Oasis and everything, and it's amazing. So really, in the end result, he gets everything he wanted in life. So if you enjoyed that video, hit that thumbs up button. Also, don't forget to subscribe below, and don't forget to put that comment that I've asked you to put in the bottom, because if you put that comment in the bottom, then I will follow you. But that's only if you put a comment in the bottom. If you don't answer the question I asked in the very beginning of the video, well, then I'm sorry, you get no follow, because I've asked you guys to do that and you guys don't. Also, remember to stay safe during the coronavirus as it's going rampage across the world. Okay, remember, wash your hands, wash your face, wash everything. Don't touch your face when you're out. Also, remember to call your friends, family, and your loved ones just to let them know you're okay, that you're doing well, that you have enough food, you have enough water, you have enough supplies to survive all this. And don't forget to follow me for more videos.